Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Surviving Mars. So last tutorial we once again just kind of got off track at the end and was fairly confused as to what the last step was needed to be done. This time I guess we'll jump into this and learn about colonists. Seems to me that there is a early game and a late game.
Commander. In this tutorial, you will finally
late game is all about colonists and domes.
Sustaining a society on Mars.
Unfortunately, it also seems to me that there's just basically 2 games worth of mechanics in this. So you have a dome.
The foundations for bringing your first colonists have already been laid down. One of the final things left to do is to provide the founders with living space.
So, to start with, all the early game that we've learned up until this point has just been handed to us. Plus, this area is kind of rich in materials and minerals, it looks like. Although, it seems to me like maybe those are just mountains. But yeah, once you get a building set up and get to a dome, you kind of, at that point, ignore it. And this is a good point to point out here, as far as just these kinds of city builders and things like, in games in general, when you're just doing scenarios where you have to have one on top of another, 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 when it is just pointless repetition, that's usually not appreciating the player's time particularly well and not doing the player any favors. Where ideally I would prefer if there was one windmill that you just could upgrade 10 times to be as efficient as a single windmill, and one solar panel that you could just upgrade. That alone would keep the square footage of the map smaller. And by keeping the square footage of the map smaller, you can just see everything going on in your base all at once. And I said in the last recording, these kinds of games probably will undergo some level of evolution as they become more cell phone friendly, and reducing the size of a map would be a major part of that. So we are skipping all of the first 5 construction menus, including just building domes, going all the way here to a living complex. And these wedges only would fit a certain way, and they only rotate a certain way with the left bump. So that they're locking you into less creativity if you did want to be creative as far as your design goes. Anyways, let's go ahead and speed this up. One assumes that there are drones heading this way, and then I guess they come in through a vent, and then they drop their resources that then slowly just builds up the buildings from the ground upward and grows trees somehow magically.
With all preparations complete,
I guess that really
ready for the arrival of the founders.
That throws out the realism of the whole idea that you can grow trees, unless of course the trees are artificial. So resupply ship. This time we're taking a passenger.
You can inspect all available applicants and determine which ones will travel to the colony. You may want to review and hand-pick individual candidates for the founders.
So we've already apparently selected 12 out of 12. Seems like there's different countries. Was one of these games the ones that got yelled at by China because it had a Taiwanese flag. It might have been. I do vaguely recall that there was some kind of controversy around. I think Paradox Interactive is the publisher of this game, but there's controversy almost around every game, so I might be just making up this entire thought in my mind. But yeah, I don't know if you're trying to have a certain age and male-female ratio here, and the ages are just youth, middle-aged, or adult. Is adult before middle-aged or after middle-aged? Or if you're just trying to go with something special and say take out the people with no specialization and throw in some more people with some specialization. Okay, so we launched that.
Colonists will arrive on Mars with a small amount of food, but it will not last long. We need to make sure that they will be able to produce their own food on the red planet. The hydroponic farm can produce food. Although the colonists can take food directly from a food depot, they will be happier if they can pick it up from a grocery.
So I guess while we're waiting for that, we're building a grocer, which weirdly is over. So do we put the hydroponic farm in the buildings? I don't think we do. It requires a dome, so actually we do put it in the building. Okay. So we'll build it there. So not every building is going to take the entirety of a wedge. So it would behoove me to be wiser about where I place things. I bet all the people are going to end up walking here and going down this direction. And I could have just put this here and swapped them around. As far as I know, and as far as I think anybody knows, the
colonists need service buildings to keep them comfortable on Mars. The grocery that you already constructed is one such service building.
Yeah, as far as we know, there's no like minerals in the soil of Mars, so making a hydroponic garden means you also would have to bring all the nitrogen and carbon and oxygen and CO2 and everything on top of whatever is in the water in Mars, which very likely it may just be as pure water as you will ever find in the solar system. It may have nothing in it. If there was never any kind of life in it, never bacteria, never anything else. It might be incredibly salty water or salinated in some other way with something other than salt, but some other kind of mineral. It's just not going to be magically growable. Spacebar. No space between spacebar when it should be a space between spacebar if it is an actual bar. Spacebar on a keyboard is one word. Spacebar as in a bar in space should be two, as far as I understand it. This also seems to want something, which I'm not sure what this wants. Inspect colonists residing in the dome at the command center. So maybe that just needs people. And so now we are back on track as far as landing. I hope at least we are. So we'll just land our ship right there. And I guess these 3 buildings are not working because these 3 buildings need people in them. Yeah, again, it just feels like a completely different game at this point, where you could have potentially eliminated all of these elements.
New colonists have arrived.
We can see
Great.
they are moving very fast
Now
in
that
the
you have
fast
a
forward.
space bar, you can customize its work settings.
Disable 1 work slot per active shift in the spacebar by following the following steps. Okay. I thought the shifts would be down here. Select the spacebar with A. Focus on the info panel with the right trigger, then highlight one of the work slots in the first 2 shifts. D-pad, which use X. Use X again if there's already a worker in there. Are we even looking at the spacebar? May not be.
Full of hope and determination, the first founders have set foot on the Red Planet.
So I'm trying to do one thing here, and it's just not even in the right menu. Yeah, I don't think I'm selecting the right thing. There we go. So was that what I was supposed to do? Or was I supposed to? I thought the idea was we were supposed to just reduce the number of people. Once against the tutorial, it's not making this make a lot of sense. Meanwhile, things are just moving fast. So am I supposed to just fire a worker? So you have to fire a worker and then close the work slot.
Healthy colonists at working age are able to fill any position, but how well they perform at a certain position varies between colonists.
Build menu and construct a research lab inside the dome is the next step. I definitely am just like really struggling with the small interface minutiae here, to the point where I'm not getting to any level where I actually feel like I'm having a good experience in gameplay wise.
Work shifts, among other things, are a way to manage your workforce. The more shifts a building has open, the more colonists it will attract to work there.
Okay. So again, we struggle to click on the right thing with a double tap of A. Just turn that on.
Buildings with higher priority will be allocated workers, power, and maintenance before others.
In fairness, we are probably at a point where we're just about to hit the research.
Let's begin researching some technologies.
I really just do think that this would have been the point. It should have happened a lot earlier. Let's see if we can remember how to even get to the research menu. Nope, I cannot remember at all. Open the research screen by pressing left trigger and picking research. That's what it says. There it is. Now research from the research screen, Q3 of the available technologies using A. So this would let you build a new farm. Apparently researching fungal farm is going on right now. Let's see. Let's toggle that one. Toggle that one. Toggle that one. Notice that there is also an outsource button that you could press.
Congratulations. You have provided everything needed for a successful founder stage.
Founder stage takes 10 souls to complete. Be careful. If all your colonists die during this period, the mission will be terminated. Having a baby born on Mars before the end of the period will also complete the founder stage. This can happen if the comfort of your colonist is very high. So I guess the idea is you want the founder stage.
You have completed the tutorial for the founder stage.
You want it to end early, I guess, is the thought there. Okay, well, we have one more tutorial, just domes. And then that's gonna be it. And I would say the art style here of this colonist, the way they're depicted, it looks way different than the way they're depicted in the game, and that just seems weird. The art style here for even the drones is fairly different. But yeah. For a game called Surviving Mars, so far in the tutorial, we really haven't run into any real dangers. Seems like dust storms might be a danger, but that's probably it. There doesn't seem like there's going to be any kind of alien species that attacks you or anything like that, or solar flares, or maybe solar flares or something like that might show up. Once again, we're ending unimpressed, and in this case, I guess I didn't get too stuck in the weeds with the tutorial because I'm ending a little earlier too. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.